What's up, suckers?
I used to go watch a band. I say, I could do that. I could do it better. I could do it louder, faster. And that's how I evolved into playing the way I play.
We were kind of the gateway for the next generation of punks, the kids that would eventually define hardcore. I didn't get into hardcore. Hardcore happened because of people like me.
You're listening to Dead Air, 2 hours of the best the punk and hardcore scene has to offer. Now let's stop talking and let's get to moshing. Episode 50-fucking-6 of Dead Air. 2 hours of hardcore radio. We took the week off for, I don't want to say in respect of 4th of July, because fuck that shit. I'm over it. I don't even really give a shit about fireworks that much. Like, I used to just do it because the fucking fireworks, because fuck the, just, I don't give a shit about 4th of July anymore. I used to just like it because I could light off fucking fireworks. And my family used to get the fucking expensive ass, like, big ones. And I used to get myself into some fucking trouble out in the neighborhood or out and about. And that was some fun shit. One time, I think, like 5 years ago, the last crazy shit happened when I had way too many fucking people over at my grandpa's house, and just people were just fucking strung out over the roof everywhere. And then before I know it, someone's fucking lighting Roman candles and bullshit and full ass mortars into my fucking kitchen. And the only excuse from one of them was, I'm on acid. Fuck it. But I guess this year I just didn't care. This year mainly it was just because of just time and shit. And we actually, the station that we run out of, NWCZ Radio out of Tacoma, Washington, we had an event for, I guess, we did a kind of like a freestyle comedy jam. And they asked me to open up, which is my first time on mic, I think, like on a live mic since, like, I don't know, fucking the last time I was in a band in like 2017. So they were like, oh, you guys, you should plan something. And I was like, fuck it. No, I'm not. It's like everyone's like, it's like 5 or 6 of us DJs on various shows. Some of them are like frantically writing down jokes. And I'm like, nah, I'm just going to make fun of myself because it's super fucking easy. Just talking about how I'm a big fucking baby. I mean, for years at my old radio station, they called me Snowman because it looked like a goddamn snowman. Everybody just fucking, I'm just too easy to make fun of. So I just decided to heckle myself before somebody else fucking heckled me. My problem was I just don't have the respect for the art of comedy enough to make up a finishing joke because fuck it. Most of my friends are funny, just funny spontaneously. And I don't like to plan that shit, but yeah, you kind of just like a set of songs. You kind of need a finisher, and I just kind of blanked out. And then I was like, "Oh shit, I forgot it! I forgot. I do have one more." And I will try to walk up, and Big D, the president of NWCZ, just kind of like yanked the mic away from me. Like, "Fuck no, you had your time." So, any fucking way. Welcome to the show. Packed as fuck. We got Eddie Sutton of the one and only Leeway on the show. We're going to be talking about just like the rebirth of Leeway and the new music and what's to come for the future of Eddie and the band. We also have from the UK, we talked about it like a week ago. Sorry. Inhuman Nature, crossover thrash in the UK. We're going to talk about the UK scene and their newest music and just talk about a lot of fucking metal. So we started this shit off with the Cromags with new music from them. They have a 3-song release out. Hold on. Just wanted to restart the music before it like fucking fades out on me. Anyway, some new music from Cromags. If you hadn't been aware of John Joseph and the Harley Flanagan legal shit that's been happening for a very long time, I haven't really talked on it too much on the show because I haven't really played much Cromags or talked much Cromags on the show. But there's been a lot of like legal fight over the name Cromags, and that now that it's legally over, and Harley Flanagan has now officially taken the name of Cromags back, and I believe John Joseph has turned his version of the Cromags into Cromags JJ. It's the version that's been playing with that's been like on the tour with Hatebreed and various other shit. I believe it's definitely the one I saw as well. I think 2015. Yeah, that was the version of the Harley version, of course. But Harley was just going under Harley Flanagan. I believe it was under the name Hardcore too. I'm like just thinking off the top of my head. My face is too far away from the computer to look that shit up, so I'm just trying to go off the dome on this one. But let me know what you think of Harley's new shit with the Cromags, the Harley Cromags. Hit me up, facebook.com/DeadAir Hardcore Radio. Message me or send me an email, deadairnwcz@gmail.com. So we're going to get into some more new music from Gulch, from down in Cali. This fucking band put out a 2-song release, a summer promo. We're going to play the song Self-Inflicted Mental Terror, and it fucking slaps. It's heavy and fast and hits in all the fucking right ways. The vocals, it's hard to say. It's definitely more of a fresh slap in the face because it stings very well. I don't know. I feel like I'd have to think about what I would consider a punch in the face and the slap in the face. But definitely slap in the face is a good thing. So, Gulch, here, listen to this fucking slap in the face, new ass song, Self-Inflicted Mental Terror, and then we're going to get on to this week's version of This or That. And that's just going to be a fucking talk-heavy show. We have a lot of people talking, and it's probably good. You don't want to hear me fucking babble. All right, on with the show. It's Dead Air, 2 hours of hardcore radio. Welcome to This or That, where we pin hardcore, punk, etc. bands against each other. Let you guys fight it out. Let me know who you think is the winner. And also, you let me know how shitty my opinions are, apparently. I'm going to keep going. Fuck, dude. Fuck. I don't care that you think a X band is better than the two bands that I picked. It's simply a fucking question. That's it. So if I don't say a single thing or give you props for your superior opinion, then fuck off. Listen to another fucking podcast. Like, there is plenty that have probably opinions that probably suit your tastes more than me. I'm simply a fan. I'm not unlike some other podcasts. I haven't been in like long-standing bands. I was in local bands for a decade, did some shit on and off, and I've been doing this show for 5 years. And my whole thing has been just getting like the new music, because a lot of people have been talk on the old. So when I get, some bands from 5, 10 plus years ago, I just want to get opinions from older fans and newer fans. I like to gauge the audience. So that's all I'm saying on that. I guess I'll talk a little bit about that later. But last week we did some newer bands, Year of the Knife versus Inclination. And man, re-listening to both, it's definitely tough. It's definitely tough for me. In my opinion, Year of the Knife is a little bit more bare bones heavy. The vocals are, they are just, they're mean, they're rugged, they're anything but clean and polished. It definitely I wouldn't say it slaps you in the face more than comes out and fucking stabs you. I would say I wouldn't call them straight up like a caveman band, because they definitely have more dynamics than Chugga Chugga Breakdown. But I would say they're definitely more bare bones than what Inclination, who I voted for, had to offer. And Inclination, just listening to just the tracks, especially on the new EP, it's so they have a lot to offer just musically, and just with simple touches, just like what they do with the lead guitar over some of some stuff that I feel like some hardcore bands would be afraid to do, because it makes them sound, I don't know, way more, metalcore, even though definitely in my mind Inclination rides the line between metallic and metal and metalcore, but definitely there's more dimension to what Inclination has recorded than Year of the Knife, but still fucking tough. Pinning the two like latest pieces together, because they're both really fucking good. Getting back over here, sorry. But yeah, their newest EP, When Fear Turns to Confidence. Yeah, Inclination, they got the vote. They fucking won. That's the deal. That's fucking good shit. So we'll be back in just a second after we play the first and title track from the latest EP, When Fear Turns to Confidence. And this song is just fucking killer. It offers so much, and one of the best heavy songs in 2018 in the Trevbot book. Just the Trevbot book. Apparently the Trevbot book is definitely different than the other books out there. So we'll be back. back. So this week, I wanted to be topical. If you go to our Facebook, facebook.com/DeadAirHardcoreRadio, you can see a bunch of posts about last weekend's the first little sets of Have Heart reunions. They did a double thing in Boston at the Palladium. They did one that was outside in the fucking parking lot where around 10,000 people arrived. 10,000 to a hardcore show, which is like been the talk of the weekend. Been absolutely just nuts and crazy. Because this whole the Have Heart's been the talk of the year since they've been talked about probably more than any new, past, or current hardcore band in 2019, in my opinion. Just over everything. And just the fact that a reunion show was probably more packed than some hardcore fests. Not that it's their fault for some of the hardcore fests, since, you know, you can only get certain venues and yada yada yada. But everybody's been talking just about the Have Heart reunion shows, the one inside the Palladium as well. But the one that's been talked about the most so far is the 10,000. There's still some more. There's still a couple more shows for the reunion this weekend. Sound and Fury. Another year. I had tickets. Had to fucking let them go. Because I'm a motherfucker and I kept switching fucking jobs. And that sucked. Oh, no. Tried to fucking kill my goddamn music. Not fucking happening. So back on topic for Have Heart. So so everyone's been talking about it. I think it's really cool, but hopefully it inspires people to get active. It definitely inspires me to get active in the shows that are coming up, just the small ones, and just get excited, especially in these small towns. I feel like that, like Tacoma and Seattle are currently a small market for hardcore, and it really fucking sucks to say that, but we got to cherish what we have and really take advantage of the opportunities at hand. And I just think Have Heart and Pat, they just waste no time to just enjoy and cherish the moments with their music, and powerful messages about, you know, the current times and the immigration problems that we're having in the U.S. So, and I fucking love Fiddlehead. So today's this week we're doing Have Heart versus Bane. So two very influential bands that transcend from the 2000s, the first decade 2000s to now. Bane called it quits and did their final tour 3 years ago now. Kind of wrote off a 2-year kind of high off of doing 2 final years of touring and doing a final record. I believe not Equal Vision. It was on Equal Vision. Yeah. To be honest, for me, both these bands I listened to heavily in my melodic hardcore phase and listened to a lot like 5+ years ago. And I have not, I have since moved on to other bands, other styles of hardcore, just because I think I oversaturated myself with those types of bands. And so I have to definitely take a deep dive into both, but stylistically, Bane just hits me in all the right ways for for the style and of hardcore. Definitely, I really enjoy Have Heart style melodic hardcore that nobody else I feel like can emulate, but I don't think anyone can emulate the exact shit that Bane has going on as well. Definitely more aggressive, more punk. Bane is, and I think that's just what I like about it. And it's just like, I guess it takes a while until I listen to the song, so I remember. Oh, because Bane has some really fucking parts that just hit you right in the fucking face. I guess it's like a quick punch. Like, oh shit, it's that fucking part. I'm like, I remember this song. I remember this song, and then it's and then the fucking sing along hits. I'm like, oh fuck, yep. So, give me your votes. Have Heart versus Bane. We're gonna play Have Heart, Armed with the Mind, and Bane, My Therapy. Then we're going right into this interview with Eddie Leeway, and then right after that, we're gonna get into interview literally right after the Leeway, straight into Inhuman Nature. So we'll be right back and listen to Dead Air, 2 hours of hardcore radio. vegan and vegetarian food options. Located on Pioneer Ave in Puyallup, Washington. Do your part to support vegan establishments in small towns. Check out Vigo_EATZ on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All right, it's time for our featured artist/band of the week here on Dead Air. I'm very excited to have Mr. Eddie Sutton on the show. Eddie Leeway. Eddie, how are you doing today?
Right now, I'm in the Virginia Beach area on the Tidewater Community College campus waiting for my girl. That's exactly what I'm doing at the moment. In real time.
In real time. You're just are you there just temporarily going to visit?
No, actually, I moved down here. I moved down here a year ago. Fell in love with a girl half my age who has two beautiful kids, and we've been making a life together. And she's pretty much applying for classes today.
Oh, okay.
You know?
So do you do most of your practices or do you like down there, or do you kind of for the music go back up to New York?
I do go up to New York. Obviously, there is no other way for me to do my thing with the majority of my musicians and team is all in New York. I go up there, I do some stagehand work and, take care of the band. I have a small studio up there and, I'm down here helping Carol with the kids, selling baseball cards and, playing Mr. Stepdad. It's kind of funny and exciting at the same time because, at my age, I never expected to have a family and all of a sudden, like an instant cup of coffee, here I am.
So it seems like it's a very interesting and exciting time for you.
Yeah, there's no question. I probably could say that I'm happier now than I've been in a very, very long time. There's a lot of things that go on in our lives and we pursue what we pursue. Sometimes you don't have the peace you always hope for, and, most of the time I feel like I'm there, you know what I mean? But, the music business can be a whole ball of fuckery too. So, there's always something going on. I'm sure you know what I mean.
Absolutely. Yeah. But let's get into it. Let's take a little bit of a deep dive. Just to the beginning for people who don't know, because how long has it been from the last time that you recorded a Leeway record to this current stuff that you're putting out on Upstate?
Well, it's been a very long time. Probably most people would not have expected something like this to happen. But Leeway's last record was in 95. I think we did a couple of compilation tribute albums after that full length. I think we did Civilization's Dying by the Zero Boys on one comp. What was the other one? We did a Smith song, The Last of the International Playboys. You could probably find those on YouTube. But the band really never did anything after that. We had short reunion runs in 1999 and 2006, but it always was too much of a hassle and a headache to get everybody together and to reach agreements and decide to record and move forward. And by 2006, I just realized, nothing was really going to happen anymore with this group. So I walked away for good then. And after a very serious injury, I started working with the guys from Agents of Man and did Truth and Rights. But, 8 years ago, I wanted to do the Leeway set again. And I started playing shows with friends playing with me. We'd have a lot of fun with the set. And slowly I worked my way towards where we are now, where I started collaborating with Dan Nastasi from Doggy Dog fame. And we finally collaborated and put out this single. It was originally planned to be a 45 single, kind of like the old days. And, it's going to be a 45 RPM EP as well as a 7-inch. And Upstate Records was really the one label that I felt like could work with us. We were really looking for somebody that seemed to mesh with our team, because I'm still trying to do this in a very DIY way, because I hate record labels, and no offense to Upstate, because, they're just with us. They've not done anything wrong. I've just had such bad luck with record labels for 30 plus years that, I just want to try to find another way to do this, because it doesn't have to be that hard. That's really how I feel about all this. But, the type of record labels that most hardcore bands are offered can't really do as much for me as they could for up-and-coming bands. And my last experience is still left a bad taste in my mouth, if you want to discuss that.
Man, I mean, if you feel like clearing the air and you need to let it out, go for it.
All right, well, here it is. Reality Records, based out of Belgium. They reissued Born to Expire and Desperate Measures about 1995, and that dude was pretty much the worst record label I ever didn't know how to mail a box. My records would come 7 months late, and this is supposed to be a pre-order. And, it was just very creative with the accounting, wasn't honest with me, and I told him I was done with him. Fast forward into this summer, I play a festival in Belgium that he's supposed to be a sponsor of. It doesn't even have the balls to show up and face me. Then he waits until I leave the country to announce pre-order for Open Mouth Kiss, which he has no rights to. And this is why Leeway is no longer on Spotify and iTunes, because AJ made this agreement with this guy, and he's a bootlegger. So the people that actually own the rights to Born to Expire and Desperate Measures had it all shut down. But who has to answer to everybody? Me. Everybody else hides. Eddie has to answer for everybody's fuckery. So I don't want anybody to buy that piece of garbage, because I don't get a dime for it. I'm the only guy that works hard to bring this band forward, and that's why I'm the only one here, because nobody else gives a shit, But, I don't lie that this is the original band. This is obviously a tribute to Leeway, and it's the reason I personally call the band Leeway NYC now, is because I want people to know it's a new day and age. Yes, the history's there. We're going to play the old songs when we come to your town and play live, but there's a future. We're not just sitting in the past and legacy, being an old-timers reunion act. We're trying to, again, push the envelope and bring something new, something thought-provoking, something that's going to stick to your fucking ribs, and not just mail it in and, rah, 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 if that makes any sense.
That makes total sense. And I think you hit the mark with the new song, the new video. I think it kind of, when I first heard it, I was like, oh shit, new Leeway. And I didn't realize even at the point, because I didn't even hear it at the first mark when you guys released the single. It took till probably around the time right before you guys put out the video. But
yeah,
I was like, I had no expectations. I had no idea. I mean, I heard you live in Truth and Rights, but I did not I haven't heard you like on record for so long. So you never know with any release what you're gonna get. And what you said about just like moving forward, you can hear that in the music. You can hear that with you vocally. It seems like things are sounding even better. You never know how a voice is going to sound after so long, and I really like how your vocals sound on this new release.
Well, thank you. I guess it's paying dues in life that gave me the skill to emote and to tell a story and dramatize with whatever style I have, because I grew up with so many different styles of music in my house, and I was weaned and raised on R&B as well. So that was always the challenge, to actually try to carry a tune and bring a hook to my music and not just, bark it out or growl it out. To me, there's no challenge in being a frontman and just acting like a fucking gorilla. But I broke my neck in 2006 so bad that I have 2 cadaver vertebrae and a piece of metal behind my esophagus. So I did have to start over and learn to sing, and that's what I did with Truth and Rights. But if you hear the Truth and Rights music, you could tell that I still had some sort of skill and strength, and I was still able to tell a story.
So I'm going to stop
Go
right
back
here.
and have this new period.
Absolutely. So I'm going to stop and just tell my little story of how, like, just discovering Leeway and just in the Tacoma area when I was growing up in high school. Like, I started going. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, cool. Just making sure. A lot of the styles of like hardcore were like, because I grew up in the Trial of the Champion era of like melodic mid 2000s hardcore. So when I came across Born to Expire, it was like something I never heard before. So like, because most of the records I would newer or old would all be on this thing called the Viaduct message board, which was the Viaduct was the venue down the street from my house, and we would discuss, we would just like they would share different records, and like it would all be usually stuff from that time, and then somebody slapped down Born to Expire. It was all, everybody's like, you check this out. I was like, okay. And I think what blew my mind was like, it kind of expanded my mind of what you think is a hardcore record, what you think about hardcore as a genre. Because I guess at that time, my mind was, I feel like, closed to the bands of the day, the Have Hearts, the Trials, all those bands. That was hardcore to me. But
sure,
I never heard anything like Born to Expire. And then then a few years down the line, Truth and Rights plays Rainfest, and I'm excited as fuck. I'm doing the I got hired to do camera for the weekend, so I got to film the set for the Truth and Rights set, and then y'all played Rise and Fall, which I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, I remember that.
Which I wasn't expecting at first, and my initial thought was, I want to film this, but I also want to go down and fucking mosh. So I don't even know who I did. So I throw it to the next. I was like, "Can you?" I don't even know who it was. I told the person, I was like, "I'll be right back." I just give him the camera, and I fucking. This is the only time I've ever done a front flip, and I front flipped off the speaker and over the stage and started fucking going ham. That was one of my favorite times, just ever at Rainfest at a festival, and just like I became a big Leeway fan from just going back to what I was saying, just like I guess expanding my mind of what a hardcore band should be, because I guess a lot of people would tell me what a hardcore band is, and then I was like, then I started to realize once I listened to Leeway that it's much, much more than that. It's much more
well,
than
if you
just
listen
one,
to every album, we tried to bring something new. We always tried to push the envelope. Oh, I have so many answers to what you just said. First of all, last year I played Seattle. It was a dead show. A lot of the reason was because people stopped going to that venue after some sort of fight or situation that happened that night. So we did a free show after that in Tacoma, and after the show, I realized the bar that we played with the back room was actually next door to where Rainfest was that day. Now let's go back to Leeway and you finding it on a forum and becoming a fan. I started to go to shows in 1981 as a wallflower, before Leeway started in 84. I was very much into early rap, so I was actually doing Grandmaster Thrash covers locally, on weekends just for a few drinks at a bar with a DJ. Then I joined Leeway, and to me, early on, hardcore had a spirit, but I always thought it was about a sound and the punk rock ethic that, hardcore became. It's the American version of punk. Most people know now by the history, Malcolm McLaren coined and manufactured punk from the early New York rock scene. Bands like, the Heartbreakers and the New York Dolls, he manufactured all of that and turned the punk phenomena on. By the time it became Americanized and turned to hardcore in the early 80s, the spirit was really to do things in your own terms, which is kind of like what the definition of what Leeway is, a margin of freedom to do your own thing. From there, I always listened to metal, and because I didn't feel 100% hardcore, I didn't know if I deserved to be in a hardcore band. But by 84, 85, as we started doing this, the crossover started, and we were a very big part of that. A lot of the bigger bands in New York, like AF, and out-of-state bands like COC started getting us shows, and we eventually jumped on to Rock Hotel, and were given the opportunity to go national, if not worldwide, with Profile Records. And Profile was the record label that Run DMC built. But, Chris Williamson had the Rock Hotel wing of things, the subsidiary, and they signed Murphy's Law, the Cromags, even Motorhead, and that band Destruction from Europe. Now, hardcore became not so much about a sound in the mid to late 80s, but it was about who you are as an individual and the passion and the heart that you have for your life, for life, not just music and culture. So to me, it became very clear, like an artist like Billie Holiday is hardcore, even though obviously, she wrote jazzy blues songs from the, and sang them in the 30s and 40s. She also did a lot of, traditional songs that she just sang that were written by other people. But her spirit and her style was truly hardcore. But did she have, two guitars behind us and a double kicking drummer? No, she didn't need that to deliver. And, even in today's music world, you can tell who is truly hardcore and who isn't by the spirit they possess. It doesn't matter what they're doing musically. It doesn't matter what you're doing as a song. Yes, when we were starting Leeway, Kill 'Em All by Metallica just came out. And yes, we sat there imagining what it would be like to have such riffs, but with hardcore energy. You know what I mean? Because everybody was dressing punk, they weren't dressing metal. But if there was a way to introduce the musicianship and the sound to go with our energy and our identity, you know, it popped off to what it is. And that's why New York hardcore, as a succinct genre, still has relevancy today. And that's what I'm grateful for. The fact that at my age, my music that I did with these guys 30 years ago can be relevant today. The recordings withstand the test of time. You know, to me, that's priceless. And like I said, it gives me the opportunity to talk to younger generations and be able to relate to them and have this common ground is a gift. If I wanted to be a rock star, shit, I would have joined the boy band a long fucking time ago. You know what I mean? But that's not who I am. You know, I'm not someone that just wants to be an entertainer and willing to sell out, you know, and do whatever just to live lovely. You know, this music obviously became a very big part of my life. The songs are literal stories from my life, if not from myself, the people around me. And I think that's why the music resonates. People relate to the stories, you know. It is what it is. Leeway's not that band that normally everybody wants to go to and get excited and dance like you did at Rainfest when you heard Rise and Fall. You know, sometimes people want to just watch and appreciate the show. And as long as I'm getting attention, that's really all that matters to me. I don't care how much somebody's going off, per se. I really just want everybody in the audience to be able to enjoy themselves without crowd killing or any of that other bullshit. You know what I mean? I guess that means I'm getting old because I don't have that anger and rage that I used to have, but I still have that energy for this. I still go up there and shake my ass, you know. I have a ball, you know, and I think people can see that. Like I said, if I wanted to sell out, I would have joined the boy band a long time ago.
Well, I'm glad because I honestly, from just like listening to your music, I don't think I would be the same without the records that you've put out. They definitely have influenced the way I listen to hardcore and the way I listen to music in general. So,
well, cool. I appreciate that.
Over the expanding genres that you listen to, what would you say is one or a couple of the most influential records in your life?
Oh, I think for a lot of us, it's the Bad Brains ROIR record. You know, it was the record in 1981. No band sounded like the Bad Brains. The drumming that Earl did on top of the musicianship of Doc and Daryl, and the vocal stylings that, you know, Paul Hudson or HR had and delivered on that record were light years away from so many bands. And if it wasn't for the Bad Brains, I don't know if we would have had even the metal scene that we have today. You know, even though the Bad Brains were coming from a jazz fusion and enlightened Rastafarianism approach, you know, a lot of the bands that were into hard rock and metal really understood what they were doing and gravitated towards it as well. Let's face it, music changed a great deal from the 70s into the 80s, where each basic genre of pop, disco, R&B, and rock branched out to so many different styles. You know, heavy metal wasn't really a term being used until after 76. But each of these genres started growing. And, you know, from there, so many different styles just branched out. So by the 80s, you know, having a band like Bad Brains introduced me to this punk rock scene downtown in New York. Shit, you know, it was just it's hypersenses, you know what I mean? Because punk and hardcore was definitely the street music like rap was in the early 80s, and both cultures did meld in the hardcore scene. You know, we had a lot of b-boy types and graffiti writers going to shows too, and you know, everybody just started feeding off each other musically, and the Bear Brains had pretty much everything to do with that. And you know, as much as I don't play that game, what 3 records would you have on an island if you were, you know, lost at sea? I guess it would be that one record, you know what I mean? Just because of the priceless, expansive opening of my mind that it did, you know? I'm trying to really, you know, picture and gain the feeling at the moment, you know, of that sensation of hearing this shit for the very first time, and that same experience of what it's like to go to a show for the first time and see all those people, you know, bugging out to the music the way it is. Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's a trip. You know, I think everybody knows what I'm trying to explain when I say that, because we all hear this music for the first time and it changes us. We all go to a show for the first time and we kind of feel like moths to a flame, because it does look pretty wild and scary. And as much as we want to join in, we're also afraid to that very first time as well. But after a while, you get comfortable with it, and you can wear it well, you know?
Absolutely. So I want to thank you for our time that we've got to spend, and just thank you for your words. I've enjoyed every second of getting to talk to you, Eddie.
Well, thank you for having me, man. It goes 2 ways. It goes both ways.
Absolutely. So let's wrap it up with telling us everything that you want us to know about the upcoming 7-inch.
Well, Tipping Point is very much a recording that, you know, Dan and I were able to collaborate together, along with my partners, Gordon Ansis, who used to be Leeway's first lead guitar player. He also played for AF when he was a nice little Jewish boy in the mid-'80s, and Laz Pina of Il Nino. You know, those guys work with me in establishing this team that I need to have to go out and perform the Leeway show, as well as bring this new music, because I don't always have the same guys on the road with me as well. You know, some of my guys are raising families, so they can't get away as much as this one or that one. So there's a lot of different guys that I work and play with. But these new songs, I hope, really capture the spirit that everyone felt with Leeway. I haven't heard anybody say they were disappointed with the first song, which is I'm Your Pusher. You know, lyrically, that might be the title, but everybody hears in the lyrics that, you know, I'm saying I'm not your pusher. It's a social pandemic that a lot of us are going through with our loved ones, whether it's a family member or a significant other, people suffering from alcoholism, substance abuse, or mental health issues. The other side of the album, Message to a Man-Child, is basically a song inspired from an old friend of mine that I had to cut my ways with because I'm just not that person today. That person accidentally killed a 38-year-old woman in a hit-and-run accident down in the Carolinas and had the audacity to run home to New York State and lie to my family and hide out in one of my family members' homes. So, you know, he kind of inspired the B-side, and it is what it is. You have to hear the song and the lyrics to really get an understanding of it. But, you know, it's still the same approach as it was when I wrote for Leeway, and I've kept real, and I did not want to desecrate the previous legacy of this band. So I delivered a 2-song that honors this band and carries us into 2020.
Will there be
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do it right.
And will there be any future music after this, do you think?
Yes, we are working for something. I never got to do the 7-inch or EP thing, so I'm kind of having fun with that. But I'm hoping, we could build on what we've reached to this point, the momentum that we've started. I'm hoping we could keep it going for a few more years. I feel just as youthful as ever. I'm blessed with that. I don't look my age. I don't feel my age. And so long as I could keep doing this on the level that I'm doing it, the door's open again. But also at the same time, I'm keeping it in perspective and simply just trying to make the best of the next few years and see where we go from there. If it's time to hang my fucking hat up, I can do that and at least say I closed the band's legacy on a better note than if we would have just walked away 24 years ago.
All right, we've been talking to Eddie Leeway of Leeway NYC. They have a new 7-inch titled Tipping Point out on Upstate Records this week.
Yeah, I'll actually be up there Friday for the release.
Yep.
I'm heading up north on Thursday to do that and hang out with everybody. Dan's got another project called Kings Never Die. And, these are songs that he wrote years ago that he was dying to release. So I'm doing actually the band title track for him this weekend. And, like I said, I love vintage baseball cards. So I'm picking up a couple of collections to sell consignment for this week. So, I'm getting to relive my boyhood even though I'm going up to do some musical business, you know what I mean? So. You got to see me when I'm around baseball cards, especially the old stuff. I was such a nut for baseball cards. It's nice to be able to have an easy pace of life, raising some kids, and playing with my baseball cards. Not many people could do that. So I feel like I'm in a good place.
So,
keeping it real though, I'm not living a fantasy per se, but I guess some people could say I must be right. I'm only doing music. I'm doing a kid's life, playing with baseball cards and playing music, but I'm loving it.
Yeah, a life you enjoy is a life worth living.
Exactly. And I think that's what this music gave a lot of us as well, is the will to be ourselves, not to conform. My music scene in 1981 was built by misfits and outcasts, and I say this a lot, and we weren't about trend and conformity. And, sometimes the music scenes today do get bastardized, and it is about conformity and trend. Some people tend to forget, the ethics that this music was built on. But, at the same time, I'm getting the opportunity to talk to a new generation and relate with them. And like I said, that's a very priceless gift for a guy my age. Most people have such a generational gap that they can't relate. I don't see any issue with the kids I talk to at every show. And I work the merch table. That's my way of giving like a meet and greet. You just have to come up and say hello to me. I'm a very approachable guy. I'm not the type of dude that hangs out in the fucking green room until I go on. I'm just not that guy,
Well, we're going to hit that music and in just a second, but any last words before we get out of here?
Well, I want to thank everybody. I think a lot of people didn't think I could come this far and put something together on my own. I think there were a lot of misconceptions of who Eddie was in the 80s and 90s when I first started doing this music, and I was still a very young adult trying to find myself after going through a lot of things in my life. I was blessed to get beyond those things and change and mature, and now I'm giving the opportunity to right the wrong that this band never really had the chance to shine the way it should have. It's getting a second chance today, and I'm simply trying to make the best of that. And everybody who's supported and believed in me up to this point, I have to thank and appreciate. And that keeps me going and keeps me on an honest path to do the best I can with this music. If I can't do it in 3 years, I don't have the strength, I'm not up to snuff, I got to walk away. You know what I mean? I'm not going to destroy the legacy. I made sure that, if I was going to come back, it was going to be just as strong as anything else, or it wasn't worth putting out. So, I'm very grateful that everybody sees it for what it is and appreciates it for what it is. And here we are. Now we're in it.
Well, once again, I appreciate this. This has been awesome, and we're going to get to this music right now. You're listening to Dead Air, 2 hours of hardcore radio.
All right, my man. You take care of yourself. Thanks, everybody.
You bring the beat one more time. I sacrificed everything just for the dawn. I walked away from the light, and now I got a new wife. Come to realize I don't need shit or strife.
Well, here goes.
Flower Chains Collective.
I felt like I was watching a dream I'd never wake up from.
DIY clothing you can't get anywhere else.
Now you have something to look forward to after you die.
Information at flowerchains.us.
What's up, motherfuckers? This is DeadAir56 telling you to check out the brand new DeadAir website now. Go to DeadAirHardcoreRadio.com for all podcasted shows as well as news, reviews, and content you can't get anywhere else. Go now or feel the wrath of my cold, hard robotic legs spin kicking you straight in the face.
Okay, so trying this again. So I talked about last week when I was on the phone with Dagger Threat just about how I'm having a hard time with international calls. So last week we talked a little bit about I fucked up the time zones and I was supposed to have a second interview. Well, luckily I got Chris from Inhuman Nature on the line right now after some technology is not agreeing with either of us on the Skype end or the internet end. We're here. Chris, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on the show. This is cool.
Absolutely. Just tell us a little bit about your band and what you do in the band.
Well, we're a thrash band. We're a thrash crossover band. I guess you could label it lots of different ways. I'm the singer, so I just shout kind of as loudly as I can and stomp around a bit. We just did a new record on Injustice Records. That came out like just beginning of May as well, which you can check out. And literally 5 minutes before I spoke to you, our buddy Mike in Texas just put up the tape release on Brainwreck Productions, so everyone in America can check that out.
And Injustice, is that a European, a UK label, or?
They're a German label. Actually, it's funny you talked about Dagger Threat, because I'm pretty sure they're on. I think they're on the same label. I should know this, but we played a festival with them recently when we did our first Euro tour. So it's funny that you mentioned them. They're really good.
That was what? It was Return to Something Fest, right? Return to Strength Fest. Return to Strength Fest.
Yeah, that fest was sick. They all dressed up like Slipknot, and I don't know why they dressed up like Slipknot, but it was pretty good.
We talked about it a lot last week. They're like that's their like number one influence. They're 100% new metal. Also, they played the Code Orange dates in their area when they went on because Code Orange was supporting the Slipknot big tour over there, because they're coming over there and then coming over the U.S. pretty soon. But yeah, that's the whole thing. I think it was a huge like fanboy moment. So
yeah. I saw them in the morning. They slept in their like red boiler suits. We were sleeping in the same place, and I was like, "All right, guys, I'll catch you later." They were tucked up in these red boiler suits.
Yeah, I saw. I didn't even get a chance to talk about that because I didn't see that picture till after we had a conversation. I was like, "Oh shit, you guys!" I heard the music's like I was like, "Yeah, this definitely has new metal going on." Yeah. But I was like, "Holy shit, you guys really do fucking like Slipknot."
Yeah, they're fully invested in, you know. That's cool.
Let's talk about a little bit about yourself. What's the exact like kind of general location of where you guys call your like hometown to play?
I mean, I guess London really, because just like most of us are from here. Our lead guitarist Benny like lives down by the coast, kind of near to Brighton. But he just travels in. But essentially it's London really. You know, so we played our UK release show in Camden, like right opposite the Underworld. This place called the Dev, which is kind of the go-to like metaler kind of like thrasher sort of pub. So yeah, man, I guess just like a London-based band.
And I feel like obviously I talk this all the time. Metal, heavy music, it's like probably still like it's been getting huge, but it's always like I feel like no matter what the trends are in the US, I feel like the UK metal is still like it's fucking number one, like as far as just like Europe wide, as far as that part of the world. But what I guess what I'm trying to say is like, how is what is like as far as like hardcore crossover genres? What are you would say like is the biggest group of bands? Because I know you guys are like crossover, but is the power trip style sound like the leading sound, or is there more different like heavy genres that are like kind of leading the pack?
What you mean, like in the UK and Europe?
Yeah,
particularly. Well, I mean, yeah, I think definitely, like, you know, like Power Trip are huge here, and like, you know, there's you know, that kind of crossover scene is picking up a bit, but still in like Europe, like just traditional heavy metal, or like sort of stuff like new wave British heavy metal style stuff is still huge, like probably like maybe bigger than that sort of thing. And in the UK, that sort of thing is massive as well. You know, I mean, I guess we invented it, so it's obviously going to be big over here. But that sort of traditional metal, like speed metal, is it's massive, as you know, as far as metal goes over here. And then you got like the crossover thing, which is huge as well. But it's hard to sort of say what's doing better or what's bigger, you know. I mean, I think it's good like when the two kind of cross over themselves, which is always good, because sometimes we play with more like traditional kind of sounding bands and like vice versa, you know.
And would you say the crossover over there, as far as like fans, do you think what do you think side is drawing more, the hardcore or the metal fans? Because over here it's like a scene by scene type thing. Like in as far as my area in Seattle, the hardcore has gone up and down, but the scene of metal has always kind of remained. So as long as that hardcore band has some traditional metal in them, they'll still pull really well in Seattle. But if they label themselves straight up as hardcore, before, like, those metal kids won't even give them a listen.
Oh, okay. It's kind of hard, man. I mean, we sort of, because we flit in between, like we play hardcore shows and we'll go play metal shows, but you get like a mixed crowd of people turning up to like our shows. But you know, if you go to a more traditional metal show, it's unlikely you're going to get that many like people into hardcore there. So it's a hard one. But again, I think like what you're saying though, man, is kind of scene by scene. You know, like we played Benny's hometown the other day, and there was a hardcore band playing, but it was definitely more of a metal crowd. But I think when we like last couple shows we played, our release show was a complete like mixed bag. That was like hardcore kids and like metalers and like people into thrash, like skateboarders, like all sorts of people came to that. I don't know if that really answered the question or not.
No, I get what you're saying. It's definitely, I guess what I'm saying, like, that's what I'm saying, go back to. It's kind of a scene by scene, because it's just interesting, because, like, they're, like, Power Trip, like, they're, like, heavily thrash influenced, but some metalheads, just because they have the hardcore crowd, like, it's sometimes just because of the crowd that they bring, they get pretty, like, annoyed, and then they call the band trash because of not it might not even be because of the influence, but because of the just the people that they decide to bring. Because some people, I remember when Power Trip plays like some metal shit, when Power Trip like plays with like I Hate God or Cannibal Corpse, some of that doesn't always go like super well.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. Like, I think there's definitely a bit of that. Like, we haven't really like experienced that sort of thing. Like, people like moshing super hard to us. Like, sometimes, but not like all the time. But yeah, you see that at shows. I mean, the last time I saw Power Trip here was at the Underworld, which is kind of small, and it was a mixed bill. So they had this band Aggressive Perfector, who are from here, a bit more like kind of a bit like a crusty Slayer, basically, and they had a band called Game who are doing really well over here, a bit more like just more of like a hardcore band, and it was a mixed crowd. But yeah, you could tell, like, you know, the true metalers don't like getting a spin kick in the face, you know. So I kind of get why, but it sucks for bands, I guess. Like, if you're crossing over and you have different types of crowds that want to express themselves in different ways, you know.
And I know there's definitely, like I said, we talked about, there's a lot of bands starting now, a lot of bands doing the crossover style. Is there any band that's like getting from your area that's getting or just in the UK in general that's getting a lot of notice? Like, is there a big like almost Power Trip style, a Power Trip size crossover band around?
Dude, off the top of my head, like, not really. I mean, there is more of like a thrash like crossover scene developing, is getting like a bit more popular. Like, so I mean, we play a lot with our friends, Road Mutant, who are, well, they're like a thrash crossover band. It's kind of similar to what we do, but they're like, what's the word I'm looking for? They've got like all their songs are, it's like all based around the same thing. I don't know what you mean. It's kind of like there's like a story to it, that sort of vibe. So they've got their own thing going. There's a band from Scotland called Kingpin who are doing really well at the moment, always playing good shows up there, like, you know, really heavy, like crossover. There's a band called Drawn In they were probably were the biggest band doing it over here, but they're not really around anymore, which kind of sucks because they're really good, but they were doing it like super well, like, you know, a good few years ago, but, you know, they're just not playing anymore.
Yeah, I'm just curious, just from our side, because, like, you know, they're like, I'm the type of music nerd that like that will listen to everything that comes across my desk, but I'm just curious of what possibly has gotten like you know, across the sea, if there's any bands that have broke over here yet, in the crossover genre, just for your area.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, like, in London at the moment, there's kind of us, we're doing like the crossover thing, but I guess in regards to like thrash crossover, there's like, it's probably just us really that I can think of. I mean, I'm like, maybe I'm just not in the know, but there's no one like super huge that I'm like forgetting or anything like that.
All right, let's talk about. We talked a little about Fest. Let's talk about Return to Strength Fest. That wasn't that long ago. That was like last month or a couple months ago.
Just at the end of May. Yeah.
Okay.
So really, just like a month or so ago. Yeah, man. That was sick. That was a really good fest. Awesome.
One thing I talked about it with the last band, Dagger Threat. I love observing the mosh styles of different scenes, of different areas. What I noticed is, which is funny to me, is the mosh style from the set, particularly that the video that I saw from you guys, was that it looked like everybody from the US 10 years ago, from when people were wearing flat bills and basketball shorts. The style, like, it almost feel like it reverted almost full circle of just like the I call it like the jump rope mosh of like everybody's like two-stepping with their legs out as far as they literally can, kind of like swinging their arms. It's just like it. If you check out any old like Rainfest, like 2009, 2010, or like Sound and Fury, or any of those, like, or Hellfest, any US videos from the anywhere before 2010, it looks like it just looks like an exact replica of those like mid 2000s style moshes, and it just like it's just very interesting to see, as far as like, because like I said, in my part of the world, like the hardcore has gone in and out, so like when I go to a show, I feel like there isn't a particular mosh style. But I guess my question is mosh styles even really still a thing over there, or is it just like everybody's just doing their thing?
I don't know. I think it is. I think styles are still a thing over here, but I know what you mean about, like, you know, back in 10 years ago, or even like the early 2000s. It's just, you know, it just always evolves. It's like you guys will do stuff, and then that will come over here, and then that will go over to the mainland over here, you know. But I would say, like, the Euro mosh is quite, it's like a friendly kind of mosh, you know. Everyone's having more of like a not as violent time, it seemed, anyway. I mean, there was definitely some bands that played Return to Strength where people were getting like the absolute shit kicked out of them, like Desolated played the night before. But you know, our set seemed pretty friendly, you know, just kind of everyone's two-stepping and sort of moshing and shit like that. But yeah, I think the styles are still there, you know. The basketball short style mosh is still big in Germany.
Yeah, I saw, I was like, oh man, that reminds me of me in high school. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, man. I mean, well, there's like, because I mean, I guess like bands like obviously I don't want to offend anyone, but like X Represent X played, and I could imagine dudes in basketball shorts would like that band a lot. You know, and obviously, you know, kind of like mosh, like old, you know, people still love bands, you know, they're kind of like older, you know, bands like Born from Pain and stuff like that, like Madball. People still, you know, they love that in Europe, and that comes with that kind of look, I would say.
Yeah, no, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. That whole scene, like, where, but it's just funny because, like, I guess if those bands came through like a few years ago, there'd be like one or two old dudes doing that. But like, I was just like, my thing was, I was seeing like lots of just like I would say people who are not that old doing that style of mosh to your band. It was interesting.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I mean, it was super fun. Like, yeah, I had no idea what to expect from the fest, because like we were on. I mean, it was kind of like Euro release show, but we were on second on the full day. So I sort of thought like people probably wouldn't like check us out, you know, because being on so early, like, no idea what to expect. But yeah, man, it's cool that people were like, you know, doing whatever and just having fun. It was, you know, sick. Some people knew the words, so like songs that had only been out a couple weeks, you know. That was cool.
No,
really good fest all in all, really fun. I would recommend, if you're able to go, like, go.
Like all the bands that I've heard, like you and Daggerthreat, just very well put together, just heavy fucking good sounding bands. So
yeah, man,
good shit. Good shit. Let's talk about a little bit about what you do in the band. Tell us a little bit what you I guess what do you like to write about?
All right. Well, I guess in this band, like, it's more. I mean, I'm trying to touch on like topical issues. Like, I will always write about like current stuff, you know, just like a lot of thrash bands do, like the state of the world and, you know, where it's headed, and obviously like global warming is a huge thing at the moment. But I'm trying to like up my writing game. I mean, I've been doing bands for like over 10 years now, but I'm always trying to like get better. So I guess I'm just trying to be a bit more descriptive, and like someone kind of pointed out recently in a review that it's kind of like a storytelling style of writing, which is what I'm going for, like trying to kind of tie in the lyrics with like the artwork and the sort of aesthetic of the band, you know, kind of like the sort of futuristic Conan warrior vibes, but still trying to touch on, you know, like current, you know, modern day subjects, like, you know, global warming, like I said, like, you know, like religion, stuff like that. Just, you know, whatever's going on, I'll try and give my opinion on in a weird sort of H.P. Lovecraft style way.
So what would you say is just like has been like your biggest influence in doing crossover thrash?
Oh, okay. I mean, I think we all have like lots of different influences. I mean, vocally, I mean, you know, I love like old Sepultura. I loved like old Metallica records. Metallica was probably like the first guitar band I ever listened to. Probably even one of the first like just bands in general. Like, luckily, like my mum, like my aunt, my mum's sister was super into that stuff. Like when I was a kid, like she's probably the only one in the family, so she introduced me to like, you know, like Sepultura, Metallica, like Nail Bomb, like kind of, and like other British stuff like Def Leppard, Thunder, The Almighty. So I feel like I've always had that, like been interested in like fast metal. Always loved Sabbath as well. Always loved the fucking lyrics of Sabbath. Like, you know, like, I mean, fucking everyone in the UK loves Sabbath, so it's an easy one to say, but I guess it's a combination of that from the metal side. But I mean, one of my all-time favorite hardcore bands is Integrity. So I think actually someone asked me to write about this the other day, and they were like, asked me to write about one of, you know, what's an influential record of mine. And probably, yeah, it'd be like Humanity is the Devil, like the way. Like, he's kind of, like, Dwid's vocal style, so fucking harsh, but also his lyrics, there's so much going on in his lyrics, so he's not afraid to kind of, like, you know, go in really deep with the lyrics and get really descriptive and, like, almost, like, quite poetic and stuff like that. So I guess it's, like, a mixture of those sort of things for me, like, more traditional metal, some of, like, the older, you know, new wave British heavy metal stuff, and then a lot of like the metallic hardcore that you guys have, you know, like I love Pulling Teeth as well, probably one of my favourite hardcore bands. So I guess it's a good combo of that.
I'm staring at my Pulling Teeth poster right now. I'm just like, fuck.
Sick, man. Dude, honestly, one of my favourite, like top 5 hardcore bands for me.
Honestly, I feel like Pulling Teeth definitely doesn't get the recognition they deserve. They did a show not that long ago. I feel like 2 to 3 years ago they did a one-off show. I don't remember if it was for This Is Hardcore or what.
I think it was.
Yeah, I think
it was This Is Hardcore. I saw the video.
Okay, yeah, definitely but yeah, that was super fucking cool. That band definitely has something. They have a chemistry. They have a certain sound that I feel like nobody else really hits at all.
Yeah, man. I mean, you know, like obviously, well, like Dom like plays in Integrity now, but he's like such a sick guitar player. You know, he's got like his fucking leads down. Yeah, it's super thrashy. I can't remember the singer's name, but like his lyrics are obviously really topical, actually like really meaningful as well. So they just combine all that, man. Like I got to see him a bunch of times. I saw him a few times in the UK. First time I saw him, they played in just a tiny youth club, like just a DIY show. And they just had like a bedroom lamp for the lights. That was sick. That was the first time I even heard them. My friend just took me. And then the last time I saw them was when mine and our drummer's old band, we played a show with them in Budapest, and it was on their last European tour. And like, I was super stoked for the show. Like, obviously one of my favourite bands. We were like just before them, played our intro, everything was going real good, and then as soon as we played our intro, like all our equipment broke.
Oh,
fucking disaster! Like the singer like came up and like was like, "Do you need some duct?" Like giving us duct tape and shit to fix the guitar strings. like a head broke, and yeah, nightmare, man. Like real disaster. But I got to see him for the last time.
That's a real. That's not real. Like that could be like a make or break moment for your night. Like you're like when you're like excited, like, oh man, I get to fucking play with one of my favorite fucking bands. I'm about to kill this shit right now, and
didn't get to do it at all. I mean, it's kind of weird because like if you're the singer, like it's really rare that anything breaks. You just have to be this like damage control guy that has to like awkwardly chat to the crowd, and I'm not very good at it, so I just there, shit.
How's everyone going? How's everyone doing?
That sort of thing. Telling like whack jokes and stuff like that.
that part of the night is always the fucking worst.
Yeah, always. Hasn't happened in a long time, so like touch wood, it doesn't happen to me again soon, but we'll see.
Well, I hope not, because those are never like fun moments. So
yeah, exactly.
Let's talk about moving forward. You guys have this killer ass record. You played some cool fests. What do you guys have up for the rest of the summer going on?
We just got a bunch of like one-off shows. So we got a couple of shows next week that we just kind of got added to a show with for Apocalypse next week, which is sick. And then our friends like Road Mutant are playing that as well. And then the day after we're playing with Noisem, which would be cool. Like totally, like kind of almost totally different shows. One of them is in this place called Milton Keynes. That's where Armed for Apocalypse is at. And then Noisem's in London, so that should be good. I can't remember where else we're playing. Just got a few one-offs. Oh shit! Actually, yeah, we're doing 4 days in August, which we just announced yesterday. So that's going to be us and a band called Grim Existence, who are like it's like good fucking hard death metal. I guess it's a bit like Bolt Thrower, that sort of vibe. Just really like disgustingly heavy. Man, they played our release show and it was sick. So we booked up a few shows with them, and like loads of our friends' bands are jumping on the other shows. So that's going to be cool. So we're playing in Wales, playing in Birmingham, going up to Glasgow, which is cool. We've never been there before. Playing this place Lincoln in like a gaming bar. So I think they have like old Nintendos and like Segas in there.
That's always fucking
they're
fun.
Having a metal show, so that's cool.
That's always fucking fun. That's dope as shit.
We got a fest in there's a new fest that the first one was last year called Upsurge, and we're playing the Saturday, which is the same day as Incendiary and Venom Prism, so that should be sick. And then Minor and our drummers band is playing the day before.
Dope.
Yeah, man. But that's about it. We did have a tour in the pipeline for November with an American band, but it's been postponed. So I think we're going to go out and do our own tour, maybe, unless someone jumps on it with us. But I'm not sure. But that is much later on in the year.
Well, hell yeah.
Yeah, man.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
That's cool, man. No worries. I mean, hopefully next year there's a plan to get over in April. And are you from? You say you're from Seattle?
Yes, we're from Seattle.
Sick. Well, that is potentially one of the stops. So hopefully we'll get to hang in real life.
Hell yeah! Hit me up if you guys need any help, because I can definitely. I'm one of the very few plugs out there, so.
Sick. All right, man. That sounds good. Yeah, no, thanks for having me, man. It's cool. Like, it's cool that you heard the record and wanted to talk about it. Like, that's awesome.
Now, there's out of the heavy shit, there's a lot of fucking like shit that's that a lot of my friends and a lot of listeners like will love, but they just haven't had the chance to hear stuff from just that part of the world. So
yeah, man. There's a lot of good shit going on in the UK right now, especially like heavy music. Lots of good thrash, lots of good metal. It's good. It's good. We're keeping the flag. flying for it.
So we'll play a couple songs from the record, and then we're gonna get back into it. Any last words before we sign off?
I don't know. Keep it metal. Check out our record if you like heavy crossover thrash. Maybe see you next year.
Hell yeah! All right, we're gonna get back to the music. You're listening to Dead Air, 2 hours of hardcore radio.
So that's it. That's the fucking show. Pretty quick, pretty as far as on my end. Lots of just not a lot of music. A lot of talk heavy. Shout out to Eddie Leeway. That's a milestone in my book. Something that I'll definitely be archiving. We'll have that on DeadAir, hardcoreradio.com very fucking soon. That was super sick. Excited to hear more music from them, but we played 2 Leeway NYC songs off the that you're gonna hear off Tipping Point on Upstate Records. Purchase it. We played Message to a Manchild and I'm Your Pusher. There's a video for I'm Your Pusher. Check it out. Cool shit. And then we kind of went straight into the next interview that I recorded last week with Inhuman Nature. Just, shout out to them. I'm always fucking down to, I love getting UK bands and European and bands from other countries on this show and just like sharing them with the world to people who haven't fucking listened to them. And band hits fucking hard. We played Satan's Claw and ended it with Line in the Sand. We're actually gonna do no music at the end this time. We're gonna do something a little different and a little weird, a little more podcasty than radio show. Sorry, just looking at my timer. We're running out of time. Next week, I actually have it planned out that we'll have Land of Wolves back in the studio to just talk about the summer and some upcoming shows in Tacoma. And I'm just going to kind of hijack them as my fucking co-hosts. They're going to be my panel. I have to do this by myself. Listen to a lot of podcasts and all the fucking crews and big podcast families that do these shows while I'm like sitting by myself, sweating my ass off in this little room. But I'm definitely excited to have some people where we're going to shoot the shit about hardcore and punk and Tacoma and all that shit. So catch it next week and check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/DeadAirHardcoreRadio, DeadAirHardcoreRadio.com, and Twitter and Instagram at DeadAirNWCZ to not miss a beat on anything we're fucking doing. We're going to keep it a lot more live this summer than we did last. All right, we're out of here. Hit it, Autumn.
See you later, sucker.